and I'm talking to people in the future again who are watching this later. Welcome. We're live with Ember from Hoshi Gato.
Hello.
We're going
Very
to chat
excited.
all about her amazing perfumes and her story.
Yes, I want to hear
Where do
many
you want
things.
to start?
Well, do you want to introduce yourself?
Well, that's awfully vague. Let's maybe ask her a specific question.
They can figure it out.
All right, you're on the spot.
Yes.
My name is Ember. I'm a perfumer from central Indiana area. I've been perfuming for 5 years, so I only recently started last year.
You only started your brand last year?
Mm-hmm. Way to go, man.
Where in central Indiana are you?
Lebanon.
Yep.
Most people don't know where that is. I don't know where you guys are from.
Well, we're in Denver, but I went to school in South Bend, so
okay.
I know generally Indiana geography.
I don't. That's okay.
Yeah, and anytime somebody from outside of Indiana asks me where I live, I say kind of near Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an easy way to do it. Very cool. Okay.
Did you grow up there?
No, I grew up in Kirkland, which is like a really, really small place, kind of north of here. It's got like 500 people in it, so it's a tiny place.
Wow. That is a tiny place. Okay, it's like
customers might recognize it from my return labels because I bought a PO box over there because it was super cheap.
Oh,
I want to make sure that can you guys hear her? Okay.
Yeah, everybody in the comments, can you hear Ember?
Hi, Loa.
Loa's in here. Got about 22 people in this. Yeah, Stan says yes.
Yes.
Everyone's saying yes. Great.
Great.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Okay. And then Chris says we can hear Ember. Perfect. Okay.
Wonderful.
Yes. Okay. So I'm really curious. How did you transition from whatever you were doing before, which was like healthcare adjacent, right?
Yeah, I was doing like I've been working in like administrative assistant type of roles.
Yeah.
I think when I first started perfumery, I was still working as a teaching assistant.
Oh.
Okay. I've had a lot of different jobs. But the way that I got started was I found out about niche perfumes on Reddit. There was this community called Indie Makeup and More, which I got on because I wanted to buy indie makeup. But the subreddit is full of people who talk about indie perfumes almost exclusively.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, I don't even like perfumes. Like, I just want to buy indie makeup. But everybody on there was like, this type of perfumery that we're talking about is different than the perfumes you see at the department store. So I bought some like perfumes from like all these different small indie brands, and I was like, oh, okay. You don't have to smell like super ambers all the time.
Yeah.
Now, had you been into perfume? Did you have a couple of bottles of anything, or were you, into it at all, even as a consumer?
When I was consuming it, I often was thinking things like, it would be great if this perfume did like a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that. And I looked into becoming a perfumer. One of the reason why I made the Intro to Perfumery guide that a lot of people know about me for is when I wanted to get into perfumery, there was like this wall. I was like, what's all the stuff that I need to know in order to do this? And when you Google it, you see a lot of misinformation written by like AI robots.
Yeah.
Like, just use like 5 drops of this essential oil and mix it with and that's how you make a perfume.
Right.
And then you go to like base notes, and the people on base notes are kind of hit or miss. They might tell you the answer to something, or they might be like, well, figure it out. Or they might be like, this is a stupid question.
Yeah.
And I've seen this question 10 times. The
same cross section of humanity you get pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's basically why I made the document, is just because there's no real centralized explanation. And when you're starting a new hobby, like I personally like having a lot of hobbies because I'm kind of ADHD. But when you're starting a new hobby, the last thing you want is for people to get turned off right away by like the lack of information or like the scattering of
Yeah.
information all over the internet. And like it would be nice to just have this one document, you read through it, it's like 6 pages. Then you can decide if you want to spend like
years,
thousands of dollars and years of your time on it, you know?
Yeah. Where do people get that?
I was gonna say, I didn't even know you had this. This is amazing.
I knew, but I keep forgetting. Where do you get it?
It's free to download. It's on my website. You just put intro to perfumery, just type it in the search bar and it'll come up.
Oh, awesome.
The way that Shopify works is it makes you check out. It is free, but it still makes you check out. The only information that needs to be real is your email address, or you need to have access to the email address because that's where they send the file.
Gotcha.
But other than that, it asks for your billing information, which is like your name and your address. You can just put like George Washington, like I don't care. People use fake names.
123 Main Street.
Awesome. Okay, people reach out to us all the time,
Constantly
asking how do I get started, and we just tell them Sam Macer on YouTube and Zoe from Sarah's. She's got a nose training kit. This is awesome. I'm going to tell people
this is a great
to go
resource.
pick that up.
And just for the record, for everybody watching, what is your website?
HoshiGato.com. It's HOSHIGATO.com.
Awesome. Very cool.
All right, everybody.
So what was
Sam Mercer is one of the only YouTubers, at least that I knew of when I first started, that made actual like perfumery type content. I suppose it's not. I mean, nowadays with TikTok, people are like way more interested in it. I didn't have TikTok when I first started, but I was really, really like curious as to how much people are interested in that content on here, as to why. But I guess a lot of people will consume content that they don't necessarily know anything about or are interested in on TikTok, as long as it, you know, sparks some kind of like thing in their brain that makes them want to pay attention.
Yeah. You can't tell you how many videos I've watched of some dude like completely renovating his backyard and building gorgeous structures, and
he's not handy at all.
I'm the least handy person. I will never ever do that in my life. Nor do I even
I really want to build a cat tree.
Yeah.
TikTok really makes me want to build a cat tree for my cats, because but then, you know, it is a whole thing.
Yeah. That's a whole micro hobby. Cat tree building.
But yeah. I do pick up hobbies quite often. I think with perfumery, it's one of the hobbies that I have that I haven't put down after picking it up.
Yeah.
Which is a miracle considering how difficult it was to get into.
Yeah.
Which is another, like, I want it to be easy for people to just kind of, you know whether or not it's for them.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when I first started, told me it's really hard and it's really expensive and it's really not fun. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But, you
We're
know.
doing it wrong.
We've got somebody in the comments here, Carson. He's saying, she's right, this is my first time on Fragrance Talk.
Well, there you go. Carson, welcome.
That's awesome. Oh, I love it.
We're a big happy family here.
Yes. So someone is asking, how did you decide on the vibe for Hoshi Gato?
Well, I'm not really, like, I am a little bit of an artist, but I'm not really much of a designer. I got some design experience when I worked at the university, but basically what the university told me when I was designing things was make it way less interesting and cute.
Oh, yeah.
Way less interesting and cute, and use university colors, which were like red and black, and I was like,
yeah. I mean, it's so
the
cute.
only thing that I know how to do is cute, colorful stuff.
Yeah.
So really, that's all I had. That's the only choice I had.
Yeah, here's an example, guys. It's so cool. And for everybody watching on TikTok.
This is her
and one of the reasons why I do word art instead of like typography style stuff is because I'm really not good at typography.
Ah.
Not good at what?
Typography.
Oh, typography.
Yeah. Okay. Like if somebody said what font goes with this vibe, I would be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just draw the letters how I feel like they should be drawn.
So are you the one doing the label design?
Yep.
And all, you are. Wow,
I have
cool.
a bigger bottle. I like Melancholy label because, you know, this is one of the only times where I've done like a simple monochromatic thing that actually looked good.
Melancholy.
Everything.
That one we haven't smelled yet. I'm pretty excited. I saved all these ones that I haven't smelled yet for this. I'm pretty excited.
Melancholy, I think, is my most expensive fragrance to make.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What, because of the ingredients?
Yeah, it has tobacco absolute and tuberose absolute in it.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, we were speaking with Hiram Green about how expensive the in particular the floral absolutes have gotten.
Yeah, I mean they've always been pretty expensive, especially rose. From what I understand, the rose stuff is really expensive because roses are really hard to cultivate without like pesticides and stuff. And then also, you know, they're only fragrant during a certain period of time.
Right.
And after that, you can't really get anything out of them.
What a great, light, fresh, crisp, clean, fun.
I get the where you were going for with the melancholy though. Mm-hmm. It's not just happy.
Yeah, I originally made it for my husband who like really only wears aquatic men's fragrances, you know, like I can't even name one right now. But you know, the typical blue
like Nautica Voyage or Bleu de Chanel or one of those kind of ones. Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, you know, maybe try a little bit different. Like this one does have some blue aquatic notes in there, like some cologne and some aquamate.
Yeah.
But then also some like more interesting stuff that he doesn't normally wear in it.
There's mintiness.
Which is one of the reasons why I didn't think twice about making it so expensive, because I thought, you know, I'll make it for him. But then afterwards I was like, yeah, I'll sell it, see how it goes.
Yeah. How is it going? Are people buying it?
I would say, like, out of the whole fall collection, it's one of the least popular ones.
Really?
Death of a Strawberry is the most popular out of all of them.
That one is amazing.
Although I don't really talk about it that often. I think a lot of people who like my brand don't really necessarily go for masculine fragrances. Mm-hmm. And this is a little bit more masculine, but I figure, you know, I've got something for the traditionally masculine perfume enjoyers.
Yeah, I love the melon accord. There's a mintiness to it, but there is this hidden depth, must be coming from the tobacco absolute and whatever else is in the base. That
it's kind of
tobacco makes it last a really long time too. Like it lasts a couple days if you wear it on your clothes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right.
And Noah is not a blue guy. He likes this.
I like alternatives to the traditional. I don't do the traditional blue fragrances at all. Mm-hmm. But I like fresh, clean stuff that is a bit of a twist on it. Yeah.
It's very cool.
Oh, this is really nice.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
You're going to remember, he has ADD too, so he's forgetting completely that we already did.
I was kind of nervous for this interview because I have so many memory problems. Like somebody
we'll get along great then. We'll just let Jamie keep track of everything. Okay. Squirrel.
That's why I got my laptop pulled up with Formulaire just in case somebody asked me a question about the formulas. I was like, and I feel bad because somebody be like, "You don't know all of your formulas." I'm like, "No."
I mean,
Noah can't even recognize honestly.
Yeah, she'll blind test me and give me one of my own fragrances. I'm like, "Boy, this smells really familiar." One time, I even said, "I'm like, I feel like I know this like the back of my hand." Like, that's because I've literally put it on the back of my hand 100 times.
One thing that I had, like, before this, like actually 2 years ago, I was gonna launch Hoshi Gato, and I had completely different fragrances. I had more of like a gourmand tea note. I had like a fresh, clean laundry soap type of fragrance, and I'm like gonna work on finishing all of those, but like definitely at my level now, I don't think that they're ready. So I would definitely like rework them. But I completely forgot that I had them.
Yeah.
Like I had them all, like full bottles of them just sitting on the shelf. And they were completely full, and I forgot that I made them.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Yeah.
Loa is just saying, don't we all have to have ADD to be into fragrance? Yeah. It seems like when Noah and I went to Scent Explore in 2024, so long ago.
3 months ago.
Jeez. I was walking around. I'm like, oh, everyone in here is neurodivergent. All of us. It was pretty cool.
There's a lot.
I liked it.
A lot of that for sure.
It's like, oh.
Okay, so you started into perfumery. So you were working and developing your skills for 3 years. Did I math correctly? About 3 years before you launched your brand?
Well, I was doing it for 4 or 5 before I launched. I've only been out for like maybe 8 or 9 months.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Wow. You're doing so well then. I'm so excited. Somebody's asking if you're doing it full time or do you still have a day job?
I am doing it full time now, although the reason why is because I got fired from my last job for being too ADHD. So
well, here you are, right where you belong.
Yeah, seriously. I get that.
I'd say like it's not because it's profitable yet. I'm saving money. A lot of people, one thing about fragrance is like there is a huge markup on fragrance, but it takes a long time for you to be able to like build up cash flow because it's so expensive to buy the materials every single time. Yep. And then, the bottles, like my bottles come from Italy and they're not super expensive, but they're not the cheapest.
Yeah.
They are lovely. I really do like them.
Yeah, they're good bottles.
Yeah.
They spray nice. They feel nice.
Yeah.
They look nice.
They're nice in the hands.
And yeah, like there's just lots of costs to owning a business that you don't even think about when you start it. So, you got to save up money. I really want to go to Pride again this year because that's when I launched my business. I launched at Indie Pride. But they've increased the price by like $200 for a booth. So
wait, what is Pride?
The Indie Pride is like the queer pride celebration that we have, and you can sell things there. They have like a little marketplace.
Got it. But, like that's not a fragrance specific expo, is it? Okay, I got it.
I don't know of any fragrance specific things around here. It's mostly just craft fairs. And I've gone to a couple. Although one thing that I have a problem with is that India's infrastructure for internet is really, really bad. So when I went to Pride, I just could not get payments through like during peak hours. So like during peak hours when people were coming to my booth, it was like could not get any payments to go through on my phone. So
that's really annoying.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't even know how you.
That's one of the only reasons why I'm considering not doing it this year is because if I have to make $500, I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Because last year I made $1,000, and we were having infrastructure problems. I would want to fix that, but I'm not the mayor of Indianapolis, so
outside of your control.
We have somebody in our comments. Her name is Autumn, and she loves your makeup. She says it's so pretty. She wants tutorials. Do you have tutorials? I know I see you doing Get Ready with me, but I don't know if you do tutorials.
I've done a couple on like my like personal account. They don't do super well, although it's kind of hard for me to do makeup tutorials because I am so ADHD. So when I'm making my makeup, it's like it takes me like a long time to be like, oh crap, I should have pushed the record button.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how people edit it so well. They're just like,
I know.
But when I edited the last one, just kind of like a TikTok video I have on my brand account, Hoshi Gato, or I think it's Hoshi_Gato. I edited that one like a traditional TikTok, and I think people liked it more, but it's not super tutorial-y.
Okay. What is your for your regular channel so I can tell Amber, or we can just say it out loud. I can tell Autumn.
Yeah, I think it's Hoshi_Gato. So it's like HOSHI_GATO.
Okay, cool. That's where you can find her tutorial, Autumn.
I made one I might do a little series because I did one for the Recluse, but I put that on my main account, and it was the one with like the stars and stuff. It was like a crazy makeup look.
I missed that one. I saw the strawberry one. That one I was obsessed with. It's like, I don't know.
So I was going to do it for all of them. But it's kind of hard because I want to do ones with like, face painty type elements to them, but it takes me like forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a lot of tolerance. It's why we have our channel the way we have it.
Yeah.
It's just
we just hit go and then
we just
ramble
start talking,
for 10 minutes.
ramble, and then we're done. And I don't know how to do editing or anything fancy. Okay.
Yeah.
Just going back to the questions here. Okay. Yeah, Autumn says she'll be right back. She's going to go find this. So Melly Rosario says, Ember, have you ever tried or sniffed House of Beau?
I have not. I have not tried either. There are so many indie brands out there. I think I discover new ones on social media every day. Yeah. I think when I first started TikTok, there just weren't a lot of indie fragrance people on here. And then now I'm getting people messaging me and being like, hey, fellow indie perfumer here. And then we follow each other. And it's like, I'm expanding my network, so to speak.
That's so cool.
I used to have a lot more access because I had Instagram, but I decided that, like the new rules around moderation, I wasn't going to deal with that. So
yeah, getting rid of Meta. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Colby, Autumn's husband, wants to know, and Stan also asked about masculine leaning fragrances in this set. Now, Melancholy is one.
Yeah, and to me, this isn't. It depends, I guess, on like what your frame of reference is and where you're coming from. So, like for me, like a guy who's wearing old school polo green and all of these vintage masculines, to me, this is unisex, but masculine appropriate. Yeah, I guess. I mean, depending appropriate on in quotes. Like I would wear this. Yeah. But this falls, I would say, unisex in my personal collection.
Now I remember because I can remember things. That
Excuse me. Rude.
That you really liked this one.
Which one was this?
Creep.
All right, oh yes.
And you also really liked the Recluse.
Was this the gravestone?
Yes.
Yes.
And the Recluse.
Okay.
You liked those two.
Thank God you remember things. One of us has to do
it. So, I suppose if the question is about whether I make masculine leading fragrances, generally I'm like much of a fruit person. So I like to build my fragrances around fruits for the most part. And so like fruity fragrances are typically considered feminine, although I do take these ideas and sometimes make them into more unisex or masculine things. Like with Melancholy, I have like, some really strong tobacco patchouli vibes in there. And maple sugar is the only, aside from fruity, maple sugar is the only fragrance I have that doesn't have any fruit notes in it. Oh. And I guess fruity is kind of like a fruity cereal type of vibe, but it's more like a gourmand.
People love that one. I know several men who love it and wear it. Yeah.
Fruity, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you spray it on? Creepy?
I did. I sprayed creep.
Okay. So tell Mr. Stan what you think.
I mean, it's a beautiful scent. What is
Creep was one of the first ones that I worked on.
Oak moss heavy?
Yeah, it does have oak moss in it. Creep is the first fragrance that I worked on as like a perfumer because I really wanted to make like an actual graveyard type fragrance. Yeah. In my experience, the ones that I was getting from other indie perfumeries, and this has probably changed because it's been like 5 years, but it was either, just very much dirt heavy or, just like didn't give rain. I think there's a rumor running around in the fragrance. Well, like I would say like if there's an iceberg of fragrance knowledge, at the very tippy top, everybody knows that geosmin is the rain chemical, right?
Right.
But there's like more to rain than that, especially if you're doing like a seasonal rain. I personally like a spring or a summer rain, like a really hot weather type of rain, because when the weather's hot outside, you can smell like the dirt and the grass and the flowers and all of that stuff.
Yeah, this
is. And it's just more than just geosmin,
Yeah, it's humid and earthy, petrichor, oak mossy, and then there's this really really nice kind of like effervescent ozonic sort of thing. I have no idea how you created that, nor do you need to spill any secrets, but it's beautiful.
Well, it's not like I could give every single ingredient to it. People wouldn't know what I use in which amounts. But sure. Probably I would say I have some ethylene brassylate in there, which is kind of like to me, that type of chemical smells kind of like brassy, but to other people, it smells kind of like lightly animalic musk.
Okay.
But the brassiness I get like from Cetilox, and I have some,
Okay. Yeah.
you know, what would I call like some of the apple chemicals that I use can get kind of
There.
fizzy.
That's it.
Too.
Yep. As soon as you said apple, it clicked in my nose brain.
I would say Manzanate specifically smells kind of like an apple soda. It's like really, really tart.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. I mean, even this, which I love and is, it's more playful than my usual style, but as we continue to say, we're polysniferous. I just love things that smell good. I don't care. I mean, I wear her, feminine stuff. I wear everything. Even this, which has that kind of gravity and earthiness and oak moss and all that, there's a playfulness to it. There's a light, fruity, playful kind of vibe to it. So, Stan, keep that in mind.
So we have another indie perfumer in here from House of Oubliette, Eddie.
Eddie, what's up?
Eddie's in here. Eddie is curious if there's any materials that you find really challenging to work with.
Oh, that's got to be aldehyde C6. Ever since I bought that for the first time, it just disgusting. Everybody says that it's like a quintessential green chemical. Nobody ever complains about it except for me. I think it smells nasty. It smells like, I don't know if this is an experience that everybody else has had, but in general, I find that most gas stations and convenience stores don't check to see if their Slim Jims are expired. So I've learned to check because on a couple of occasions I've gotten expired Slim Jims, and I've just been like eating it on my way to work because I love like a meat breakfast type of thing, and that's what it smells like. To me, it smells like expired Slim Jims.
Expired Slim Jims. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't have that particular chemical. I might have to go get it now.
If you add it to something, like it's really good in a banana nut, then you start to see the merit in it. It's good in like it's good in like bananas and chocolate. But alone, people say it's a green chemical. All I smell is expired Slim Jims.
Yeah. Yes.
What'd you just spray there?
So this was Blueberry Skies because Colby said Blueberry Skies looks really nice. So I wanted to spray it so you could. I mean,
it's got blueberry muffin vibes for sure. There's like a toastiness to it.
I find it to be like blue skies on a really nice summer day. Like that's how I feel when I smell that.
It's not overly gourmand. It's not dense. It's not super sweet.
It's awesome. This was my daughter's second favorite. She loved
one thing I like about that one is just because I use this specific type of lavender that I really like. So there's like I heard a lot of people say that they don't like lavender. But there's so many different kinds of lavender out there. And I was just, there's spike lavender, I think, is the lavender that people don't like.
Yeah, it's rough. Yeah.
But I bought every different type of lavender that I could possibly get. And I smelled all of them. And I was like, you know what? I really like Lavender Mayette. That one is like the really calming, not too citrusy, kind of, like very chill. And so that is one of the things that I like about that perfume. It's just like, it's not like, in my opinion, it's not like super out there fruity. It's more like a very chill type of like a blueberry cloud type of vibe.
Yeah, it's super nice.
Is there, I get a wonderful, it's subtle in this, but there's that kind of clean laundry sort of thing going on a little bit in this as well, which is an interesting combination with the kind of toasty blueberry muffin sort of vibe. Is that
it might be a little bit from Oris?
Do you use Galaxolite in that one?
I do not. I actually don't use a whole lot of Galaxolite. Oh, I do use Cashmerean though.
Okay.
Cashmerean is a little bit similar. I prefer it because it's got a little bit of a more stronger note to it, a little bit more of like a powder, like I guess I would say a powdery vibe. I didn't used to like powdery notes in perfumes, but used subtly, I think it makes things, it adds vibes. I guess that's how I describe most things that I put in a perfume. I do it because it adds.
Yeah, that's a good vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liz is in here, and she says the blueberry one is the only Hoshi Gato I haven't tried. I need to get that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And then Colby said, sample set order. Don't tell my wife. It'll be a surprise. So Loa wants to know, how did you decide on the name of your house?
That's a good question.
So I've always been kind of like interested. One of my hobbies, I guess you could say, is being studying languages. So in high school and in college, I studied Japanese and Spanish. Don't ask me to speak because I will screw it up. But I can read pretty well, read and understand pretty well, but not speak. And so also another thing that I like to do is do puns in my names. Like for my main account is Mew Mew Hakusho, so it's like the anime Yu Yu Hakusho except for with cats.
Yeah.
So Hoshi Gato is kind of a pun. And in Japanese, there's this grammatical sentence structure thing called Hoshigata, which means somebody else wants something.
Yeah.
So like if I wanted something, I would say Hoshi. If you want something and I was communicating that to somebody else, I would say Hoshigata, you know? And then I guess I came up with a username at one point that was Hoshigato.
Yeah.
And so that became the brand name. I was gonna name my brand Witching Well.
Yeah.
Although I'm glad I didn't, because so many other brands have like a witchy aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
My husband was like, no, you should name it Hoshigato.
Yeah.
No,
it
really
does stand out. Yeah. It fits really well too.
Yes. So
I love this creep.
Sultan of Oud would like to know, if someone wanted to order a sample set, which 6 do you think best represents your house? Or which one would you pick, I guess?
Which of your children do you like best? This is the inevitable question.
I would say Death of a Strawberry, Creep, Blueberry Skies, Rainbow Suncatcher. Did I do 6 or is that 5?
One more.
One more? It's hard to pick the last one.
Ooh, what is this?
Death of a Strawberry.
It's good. I know.
Try Melancholy. I would say Melancholy. Yeah. It does not a lot of people order it, but I put it in samples sometimes because it's something different from my house. I say I normally do a lot of fruity, more sweet, more feminine fragrances, and Melancholy is a little bit different. So if you don't like any of those and maybe you like Melancholy, maybe.
Yeah. Did you recommend fruity?
I would say I do, like, it's hard for me to decide, but I do normally give like an extra sample to people who order the sample set. Gotcha. So if you want fruity as well, I would put them in there.
I love fruity, guys. If you like the taste of Fruit Loops and you want to smell that on your body, get fruity. Yeah. Which I do.
Ollie, talk to Omid as well. I believe Omid has smelled a bunch of her work. Is he?
Yeah, he was anyway.
There he is.
Yeah, I made a fruity mostly because I know that it's a very common fragrance for like body oils to have like Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't last very long. Yeah. And I figured I could make it last longer.
Yeah, it does.
If I used, perfume chemistry.
Yeah. It does. All of these perfumes last a long time.
Yeah, really. And people might not understand how hard it is to make something that is fresh, fruity, and long lasting, because those things are typically contradictory in perfume making. So,
what do you think?
Yeah, that's another thing. I picked a niche that I guess I wouldn't necessarily care if my perfumes last like 10 hours or so, as long as they last long enough for me to like them. Like, workday typical.
Yeah.
But I do try to make them last as long as possible.
I actually quite like Death of a Strawberry. I'm going to put this on my skin.
It's one of my most popular fragrances, actually. I was surprised because, it's hard to sell something that supposedly smells like rotting strawberries.
Thank you.
People like it.
Well, see, I wasn't even putting 2 and 2 together. I'm smelling this and I'm going, this is not your average strawberry. This is funky. There's some real funk to this, and I'm like, ooh, I like this a lot.
It's like not a feminine strawberry like what most perfumes would have, like a very feminine strawberry note. It's
Right.
more like a, you know, it's got some more masculine notes in there, like patchouli and what's that thing that starts with a V?
Vetiver?
Yeah, vetiver.
The other green thing.
Yeah, the other green thing. Like patchouli and vetiver and stuff like that, that makes it a little bit more dark.
Yeah, it's really well done. I love this, actually.
When Mia smelled it, she said it smells like when you pack strawberries in your lunch and you don't eat them all, and then you come home at the end of the day and it's like the strawberries kind
She's
of
got such a
mushy.
way with describing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She loves this
Yeah,
one.
this is nice.
So we got a question here about what ideas you're tossing around for your next fragrance. Do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
That one?
I actually have like a little sample I made for myself of like a beachy peach. One of my favorite things to smell in a perfume is peach, but it's really, really hard, I find, to make a peach that I think smells like a real peach. You know? A lot of perfumes that have peach notes in them don't smell like peaches, they smell like peach rings. And I don't really necessarily think that this is like a super fresh peach that I have in here, but it's like it's okay because it's a very gourmandy beach, you know, coconut cabana vibes type
Yeah.
of perfume.
Oh, that's really fun. I love that. That's like not a me scent at all, but it lights up all of the like
happy centers.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah. And I was gonna say it's got something in common with the strawberry, the death of a strawberry, in terms of that kind of like texture or slightly kind of funky depth to it that really makes it much more intriguing and complex than the average fruity peach. This is nice.
I would say I don't think I see a lot of beachy type peach fragrances, although, you know, if people want to make a beachy fragrance, they usually use like a mango or pineapple. But the thing about peaches is that they share a lot of those like funkier aroma chemicals with tropical fruits.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really not all that hard to blend it into that kind of vibe.
It's so good.
I'm
obsessed with peach. So
this might be my top so far.
I'm getting rosacea now because I'm nervous.
That happens to me too.
I had hair before the interview started.
This is outstanding.
I did do a video on this thing called tropical thiazole. I did a video about how I get frustrated when drink companies, because I love energy drinks, and I love tasting all the new flavors.
Yeah.
But one thing that I notice is with like peach flavored drinks, they use way too much tropical thiazole. And that is the chemical that kind of makes things smell kind of like funky cat pee, you know? But it's actually in peaches.
Yeah.
Like that type of chemical is actually in the peach. So you do need it, but you don't need that much of it, you know?
Right.
Just use a little bit less. And also I think it's a problem with diet drinks because they don't put the sugar you could even just use maltol as like a flavoring to it. Like it needs some sort of like
what an interesting
sugary vibe to balance it out. Otherwise it gets cat pissy real quick.
That's fascinating. I wonder why you don't see maltol used, because of course it's obviously edible. It's a flavoring agent as well, but I don't hear about that being used as a sweetener.
Yeah. I'm not really much in the flavorings world, but it is very similar to perfumery. A lot of the stuff that we use is the same.
Yeah.
So
that's fascinating.
I like a lot of the stuff that they use in flavors is specifically to make your nose, you know,
Right.
A lot of taste comes from your nose. So it's like
IFF is International Flavor and Fragrance.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Now we know.
That's very cool.
I seriously can't. I can't say enough. There's something kind of nostalgic. I don't know if it's the photorealism of the peach combined with like the salty, aquatic, beachy, coconut lotiony kind of thing. But You gotta be careful when you put this on, just so you know.
I was really
I still vote for the. Oh, sorry.
What was that?
I was really interested in sunscreen accords when I thought of this fragrance, and something like really interesting that somebody taught me on Discord is that benzyl salicylate and gamma decalactone, which is like commonly known as aldehyde C18, the coconut aldehyde.
Yep.
Those two together is the sunscreen accord, and I didn't believe them at first because benzyl salicylate doesn't have much of a fragrance.
No.
But when I tried it, it was like, yeah, that smells just like sunscreen.
I'll be damned. Huh. And you nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It doesn't. I don't know. It's not cliche. It's not screechy.
No. It's really nice on skin.
Fun. All right. I'll let you go back to your.
Sorry, Omid was just saying I still vote for the name to be Beach Fuzz.
Beach Fuzz. That would be a good one. Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of good naming suggestions. One thing is like a lot of people are suggesting that I name it something French, but I don't speak French at all. So I feel like if I had to talk about it in interviews, the pronunciation would be really, really bad.
It's so popular in perfumery, and I'm like you. The idea of doing any of that in either with my fragrances or if we do a house at some point, it just feels like it feels completely fraudulent. Like I have zero connection to France or French history or the language at all. Like, why would I just randomly start naming everything French?
Yeah, that's another thing is I feel inauthentic, I suppose. I know there's probably like a lot of people who look at the name of my house and is like, why? You know, because those are both second languages for me, not my first languages. But, you know, I have had a lot of passion for those two, you know, Spanish and Japanese, and I still study them, even though sometimes it goes right out my brain because the ADHD gets bad until you turn 30. It gets worse. So.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well.
Is this a downhill process?
Well, I heard from people like my doctor that it gets worse up until you turn 30, and that's why I'm having problems. So.
Oh, I see.
And then after 30, does it stabilize?
It mellows out.
Yeah, I think it wanes off after 30.
That's good.
Interesting.
Maybe at 50, I suddenly become intensely focused and clean. We'll find out. 2.5 years to go.
I mean, honestly, Peachy is a perfectly fine fragrance name.
Yeah.
I liked the name Beachy Peach because I was able to do like a little word art that says beachy, but then I colored the top of the
peach. Yeah. I see.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So it looks like it says
T.
That's cute. I love that.
Yeah, beachy peachy.
Do you want to smell the
Another thing about developing the fragrances is that I also have to think about what kind of word art I'm going to make for them.
Yes.
I love the death of a strawberry.
That one was kind of hard for me. Like that's the only one that I've done with like typography instead of like word art, I think.
Very 80s looking, which is fun.
It's like 80s, like Metallica, Megadeth kind of vibes.
Although that one is named after a song from a band that is for some reason going viral on TikTok right now, Dance Gavin Dance. I don't know why everybody's all of a sudden discovering them now, but one of their songs is going viral on TikTok, so
cool.
Maybe people will love Death of a Strawberry now.
Okay, I really like, we're smelling now the Recluse.
That one's also named after a song.
Is it?
It's named after a song from a much less popular band called Cursive, which I do highly recommend if you like Dance Gavin Dance type songs. It's a little bit different, but I do like it's got a lot of twinkly guitar noises.
Neat.
This feels like your kind of like fruity, lighthearted take on the kind of musty academia kind of.
Yeah, it is kind of like a dark academia type of vibe.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just smitten here because this is my favorite thing about perfume is self-trained indie perfumers creating stuff that just literally didn't exist in the pantheon of fragrance prior to these creations. These smell like nothing else.
They really don't. They're super.
I think that a lot of the time I go into it with a very basic ass idea, you know, and as I'm doing it, I'm like, you know what? why make a basic ass perfume?
Yeah.
You just need something a little
There's
bit
enough of
different.
that out there, right?
For the recluse, I definitely wanted to have like just a fresh red maraschino cherry perfume.
Okay.
But then, for number one, if I did that, it wouldn't last 2 minutes. Because of the chemicals that you do to make cherry fragrance.
Yeah.
But then also, as it wears, I wanted it to be a little bit, I wanted it to be like the concept that I had was a cherry that goes from the springtime where it's like sakura petals and like, and then to the summer where it's like the cherry fruit, and then to the fall where it's like the wood of the cherry tree. So it kind of goes
cherry
right to like a creamy floral to like a woody, leathery type fragrance.
This is wonderful. She might turn me into a fruity guy. This is really good. Yes. I mean, between the freaking melon and the strawberry and the well, you'll wear the peach, and I'll wear it by proxy, and then and then the recluse, this cherry.
Let's do this maple one.
It is just it's got that kind of like old den, leather couch and dusty old ancient bookshelf. Oh, it's beautiful.
We've got Thalia or Thali in here.
I haven't seen her in forever.
I know. Well, she says, long time no see. Yeah. The new year took my life somewhere or elsewhere. Anyways,
good to have you back.
Will the star caps come back?
Oh God.
The star caps.
I feel bad about the star caps because I have a resin printer. Every time I try to print the caps with like more than one at a time, it fails. Every time. I don't know why. I think in the future, if I want to do it, I'm going to have to learn how to do molding. Like I'm going to take one really well printed star cap and then I'm going to make a silicone mold and then I'm going to find some material to make with it. I guess it might be like some sort of like UV hardening type resin in there, but that's like a whole nother venture.
Yeah.
I like one of the things is like it's a very much ADHD fixation that I have that I want to put a special cap on my perfume,
Now, Ember, have you tried smashing the printer?
No.
I find that to be very effective.
Ooh.
Well, I'm about pretty close to doing that with my paper printer because every time I try to use it, it makes this god-awful cranking, clicking noise.
You and I have the same curses. This is hysterical. Does this not smell like a chocolate maple donut?
To me, it smells like root beer, which I'm obsessed with.
Scent is subjective, but you're wrong.
Okay. We are smelling the maple sugar one. What's it called? Maple sugar?
Yeah.
One of my many jobs was a salesperson for a local maple syrup company. A small maple syrup manufacturer here in Indiana. They're called Dragonwood, and they sell maple syrup and honey. And that was the scent of the maple syrup boiling room, basically.
Okay.
This is fantastic.
That's a great gourmand. Again, also like very unique. I've never smelled a gourmand quite like that.
Yeah.
You have to really love gourmands. I mean, you are going to smell like a maple donut treat.
But it doesn't
it is a maple syrup for people who love maple syrup.
Yeah.
That's my husband's least favorite perfume because when he was a kid, he used to watch like the Jackass movies.
Yeah.
And apparently one of the Jackass movies has a scene where they're chugging maple syrup.
Oh God.
And my husband did that and then he got very sick.
And he got diabetes.
So he doesn't like it.
Diabetes.
Wow. Yeah. So Liz in here says, doing molding with a 3D printed piece is actually oddly easy. I can send you some info.
There you go.
I love it.
Sourcing.
Yes. That's so funny. Somebody's Perfume Pulse says, greetings from Greece. Oh, man.
Welcome from Greece.
Okay. So we have one more. Well, no, we have a few more we haven't sniffed. Here's Rainbow. I was very hard pressed to decide between Rainbow and Suncatcher. I was going off my memory.
This melancholy is really, it smells just like it did when I sprayed it. It's on my hand.
Oh.
Yeah, I was very surprised. The first time I actually worked with Tobacco Absolute in like a fully finished fragrance, I was very surprised at how well it sticks.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh God. What is this one? What's it called? Rainbow? Some aldehydes in here, yeah.
Yeah. Rainbow was one of the ones where I was like, I had discovered that certain florals together smell like a waterfall. Like I have some lily tall and jasmine specialty and a couple of other minute floral ingredients in there. And when I put originally Rainbow was not meant to be such a watery smelling, like waterfall type fragrance. But when I did that, I was like, oh, I did something, you know? So I kind of kept going down that road.
Yeah.
We've got Brand Sense in the comments saying, love the hair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do it myself.
Oh,
do you really?
Yeah.
You dye it yourself?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Been dyeing my hair for years and years and years.
Speaking of rainbow.
I know.
Yeah, this is wonderful. And, you know, I know people like, well, tell us about it. I'm like, I don't know what to say. I've never smelled anything like it. I can't give you a category. I don't really smell a particular note standing out. I mean, it smells like a rainbow waterfall. It's the best I can say.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's ozonic. It's watery. It's crisp. It's diffusive. It's light. There's a little bit of sweetness, and that to me is, I guess, maybe one of the shock factors I'm having is looking at the brand and your, style and the labels and all that. I would have expected all of this stuff to be just like wall to wall sweetness, and it's not.
No.
The exception maybe being the maple sugar one, but that's in the name.
I used to think that I quite liked gourmand fragrances, but when I got more into indie perfumery, I realized what I liked wasn't gourmands. It was like fresh, fruity fragrances. Although I do like gourmands a bit, and I'm working on one right now, like a strawberry shortcake type of perfume.
Oh.
I really wanted to make the cake note from scratch because a lot of indie perfumeries use Madeline from Perfumer's Apprentice. Smell it so clearly. And I just wanted to make my own cake note. So I just got a bunch of stuff from Harry Sherwood that I've been trying out. Some like more pyrazine type materials. Because with you can't do a cake note with like vanillin and benzaldehyde and like isobutadiene. You can't get the butteriness. Even a lot of people were like, put Butterco 2 in there. And I was like, Butterco 2 is not doing it. It's not buttery.
Yeah.
It's like it's not even as buttery as like a pyrazine, it's very subtle.
It's almost like it's like beeswax absolute, where it doesn't really provide the flavor, so to speak, that you would expect based on the name.
Yeah. It's like I have some of it back there, but I would describe it as like kind of the essence of the fat of milk and not really like buttery biscuits,
Yeah. This is fruity, everybody, that we just sprayed.
Yeah. Just one more comment about your hair.
Hit the button on that.
Oh, sorry.
Working.
No, I can't get it to focus. Sorry, y'all. Brand Sense. He's a big creator in the UK, I think. He said, "Got that jellyfish cut. I'm a hairstylist." Yeah. You cut it too yourself?
Oh no, I definitely don't trust myself to cut the hair, but I do cut my bangs sometimes when they get a little bit too long.
I couldn't. There's no part of my hair I would cut and trust myself with. Okay, so
I have a hard time sectioning it even to dye it properly.
Yeah.
Because I have a very small mirror that I go and I look like this, So I would definitely not be very good at cutting the back of my hair.
I'm so impressed. Okay. What else do we have here? Will you be keeping all of the fragrances in stock, or will you be taking some out depending on season?
I am moving into a seasonal model right now. I would say that I am not going to restock the fall line, Recluse, Melancholy, and Death of a Strawberry anymore after this point. because I want to release my new summer fragrances eventually, hopefully by the time that they run out, you know. I think Beachy Peach is close to being done, and then I want to work on my Strawberry Shortcake.
Oh, you don't even consider this version here to be a finished fragrance?
Not really. I would say like I want it.
It's
One
so
thing
good.
that I really like it, but one thing that I don't want necessarily is there's a certain like there's a tiny amount of PK Perfumes' Plumeria base in here.
Okay.
And I have tried so many times to get the IFRA information from his bases, and sometimes he answers my emails and sometimes he doesn't. So
Yeah,
I'm just not holding my breath.
Yeah. Are you in his forum on Facebook?
No, I just know him from base notes only.
The forum, because he's in there a lot. It's called Perfume Making on Facebook.
I might have to have like
down another way.
I might have to find how to message him on Facebook because I did delete my account, but
yeah, and he's typically pretty responsive, especially when it comes to his own materials. Like I have some of his black tea absolute.
Yeah, I think that the black tea base is pretty good.
Yeah.
I did get a sample of his amazing apricot base. It smells kind of weird to me, to be honest. It smells kind of weird, but it is a base, so it's meant to be.
Sure.
As I've talked in videos previous, it is not meant to be a photorealistic accord. It is meant to be something that you can build off of.
His perfumes in general are pretty weird, so I'm not surprised that his bases are weird too. He just makes weird stuff.
I do think the Plumeria base is really nice, like a nice tropical, like generally tropical flower. I just would want to make sure it doesn't have like, I don't know, 70% like rose ketones in it or something.
Sure. Right. He's pretty conscious about, I would be shocked, you know, like that's one of his things. He's very conscious about all of that.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, what is this?
That's Suncatcher.
Ah, lovely.
It's not great.
I did use his black tea base in Suncatcher.
Ah, that's what I'm smelling. Okay. Oh my God, there's something here that smells really familiar. Yeah, you can smell the tea. It does come through. Yeah.
Although I will say that nowadays, I think that it's not really all that hard to make a black tea because when I smell black tea, all I can smell is linalool. So it's mostly like if you add linalool to something in a high enough amount, it starts to smell
like tea. Yeah.
Good to know. Now you know because you're making a tea.
Although there is a certain like fattiness to PK's or Paul Kyler's like black tea base. Yeah. I'm not really sure where he gets it from, but it's like there's some fattiness down there.
God, these are so nice.
I love that we're naming things fatty. Like a fragrance that's fatty. I think that's fascinating.
Chunky.
One thing that like my vocabulary has expanded since studying, but one thing I can only describe as fatty, and that is like the kind of full roundness that some materials have at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like I describe a lot of grassy materials like aldehyde C6, like the one that I really don't like, as fatty because they just kind of smell greasy a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the lactones have that quality too. There's some greenness coming out of Death of a Strawberry now.
Yeah, I use I have one material that I learned about really early on in perfumery is isocyclocitral, which is my favorite green chemical. I actually thought about making a perfume that's just green notes, and I'm not going to tell you what the name of it is because it's genius. I kind of want to do it just because of the name that I thought of.
Do it.
And isocyclocitral, I was asking on these forums, how can I get that fuzzy strawberry leaf type of, vibe in my perfumes? And they said, a lot of people said hexanol 3-cis, which is like
that's the common, yeah.
Cut grass. But then somebody said isocyclocitral. It's perfect. Like you can use that for fuzzy green leaves. You can use it for the peach fuzz on a strawberry. You can use it for anything. It's so good. It's so clean. I don't know if you guys have it, but it's really good.
I don't have. No, I don't have. Never even heard of it actually. Yeah.
It's my favorite green material, I would say.
Do you want me to write it down?
Say the name one more time.
It's isocyclocitral.
Isocyclone. No, it'll get saved in my.
For sure, in one ear and out the other. I'll be able to remember that ever again.
Isocyclocitral. There we go.
Put it in your wish.
Perfumer's Apprentice, green aldehydic herbal.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Beautiful.
It smells exactly like the fuzzy leaves of a strawberry, or like those weeds that you're not supposed to touch because they'll give you like hives.
Right.
It smells like that.
Yeah, very cool. Well, do you have any more questions?
Well, I'm curious more about your self-training. How did you go about it? You obviously were in communication, on the forums and all of that. Did you just dive in and just start blending? Did you follow a specific protocol? How long was it until you, well, here's really where I'm going with that. There are a lot of perfumers now who are, blending for 6 months and then releasing fragrances. You didn't do that.
No,
You worked.
I don't think you really know. Like if you're making real perfumes, chemical by chemical, I don't think it's possible to really. I mean, it might be possible, but I think that if you make a perfume in 6 months, a year from now, you're gonna think it smells like shit.
Right.
I keep a lot of the fragrances that I had over the years, and some of them don't smell bad, but I definitely think that I wouldn't want to release them as perfumes because they lack depth to them.
Yeah.
I think what I wanted to do from the moment that I started doing perfumery is to eventually sell my perfumes, but it takes a really long time for you to get anywhere near to where you think it's like worth people buying it, worth people's money.
Yeah.
And even now, developing a fragrance takes months just because of, you have to age it and then like wear it on the skin and test it that way. And then, it goes through a revision process.
Yeah.
Like some of my fragrances, like not like a fully trained perfumer, but as a perfumer has been doing it for years, they take like 3 months. So that's like that time. So I would say I've seen a lot of people, kind of dive into like selling the fragrances, which I would say is all right. But some of them charge like a whole lot of money for them. When I first started perfumery, I was part of a Discord server with another perfumer who's become kind of infamous. And I think it was like my first introduction to TikTok, people asking me what I felt about him.
Yeah.
He immediately dove into perfumery and immediately started selling. And he started selling things for like $200 a bottle.
Yeah.
And we've seen like people getting chemical burns from that stuff. Like he used to do Instagram lives where he would blend in a plastic cup, and obviously, perfumery chemicals melt plastic when concentrated like that. Like I have this is not dirty. This is melted plastic from my scale. So
right. Just from incidental fumes. Yeah.
Just like splash damage.
Yeah.
So like storing your chemicals in a plastic cup and then like very surprised when the chemicals ate through the cup.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that you got to know. Like I would suggest reading my Intro to Perfumery document. Like I said, it's free and it has a lot of information about how to calculate IFRA regulations in there because it's not super easy.
No,
like on the surface.
Yeah.
On the surface, it's like all you got to do is calculate how much of a percent this is.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit more complicated when you're working with naturals that have multiple chemicals in them.
Right.
And it's like it's crazy. It gets crazy. So you got to really understand that. Although I will say sometimes when people make perfumes, they're not using chemicals, they're using fragrance oils, which I would say after 6 months, that's about as good as you're going to get with a fragrance oil,
Yep.
You can't really make so much detailed work.
Right.
Those things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the point at which you sort of realized you had something or decided this is it? Was it just a slow progression of waiting until you felt satisfied with what you created? Were there other factors? What was it that finally kind of pushed you over the hump and got you to the point of saying, I'm ready to launch a brand?
I go back and forth a lot on whether or not I like the fragrances that I make. I get really nervous whenever I go out to like a craft fairs and stuff, and I'm like, oh, what if there's people in there that are allergic to fragrance and people are spraying it, and then they have to go home because they have a headache, and I don't want to make other people uncomfortable. Like I don't go to indoor craft markets specifically because I don't want to make other people uncomfortable. It's like, I have a lot of anxiety about it. But I think my husband is like one of the people that encouraged me to go for it. I really wanted to sell the fragrances and see what other people thought of them. And he was like, yeah, these are really good. But he probably would say that even if they weren't. But
Damn
I
husband.
remember I was really like scared when I first launched because I sent some perfumes to an influencer on Reddit, and she said that the perfumes were all way too sweet for her and that she couldn't recommend them, so she just wasn't going to talk about the brand at all. And I was like, okay, well, thank you for not talking badly about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still feel nervous, or do you feel more confident now?
I am still really nervous about it. Like I don't talk about my perfumes like they're God's gift to humanity or anything. I like them. I like making them and I like smelling them and I like wearing them. But fragrance is so subjective, and like so many people would smell it and think that it's way too sweet, or smell it and think that it's just like not very special. And
or if people are kind of snobby, and I don't even mean that in a mean way. I have my own ways in which I can be snobby, but if everything needs to smell in super all natural, or not a single rough edge, or kind of perfectly finished like a classic Chanel perfume or something like that, then this isn't the house, right? Like, but
I definitely wouldn't be like, like it's a Chanel type of thing. There's a lot of people out there who are like really, really into dissecting all of like the blends of the perfume. I feel like my perfumes, I would say that they are blended. Like they don't smell like nothing jumps out super hard at you, but it's not like I wouldn't say I'm at the level of like a Chanel or like a anything.
But again, like we discussed earlier, like there's already Chanel. Like
people don't want.
Although if I was at the level of a Chanel, I wouldn't want to make Chanel.
Right.
I would make like one thing I wanted to try was like I'm a little bit autistic, so I have these special interests, and I wanted to make some perfumes. Probably not even sell them because it would be like copyright issues, but like perfumes inspired by some of the characters that I like, and one of them would be like a space accord. I'd really like to make a space accord.
Are you a sci-fi girl?
I wouldn't say like the traditional sci-fi, although some of the stuff that I like has like sci-fi type elements to it, not like a Star Wars person, but like a video game person.
Okay.
So
Nice.
a lot of them have like space stuff in them. Like if I were to make like the recent movie that came out, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, with Shadow the Hedgehog's character arc, I would want to make like a space accord for that one.
That's cool.
Neat.
I have a pride flag back here that has a lot of my favorite stuff on it. I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah. I love that. So you have your inspiration.
A lot of cartoon characters on it.
Well, if I had created
from space.
any of these perfumes, I would be super proud.
Heck yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you've got, no pun intended, you've got your niche. You've got the thing that you do that no one else does, which the word for that is genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got the thing that you do better than anyone else. And it's just about helping people understand what it is and finding that target audience for it. And that's, to me, that's people who love perfume. They love things that smell good, that are unique. They're not obsessed with, like you said, dissecting it down to the level of, well, what material was used here and how perfectly blended. And it's just, these are just fun and they smell good, and they don't smell like anything else on the market, you know?
Yeah.
And
I
think
was nervous that I wouldn't find people who like
we're like that.
my perfumes. I just kind of, sometimes they're like really weird, and I thought, you know, maybe I know a lot of people like weird fragrances, but maybe not that kind of weird,
Right.
or, you know, maybe not that kind of gourmand or something like that. But I have had a lot of, you know, people sending me emails and people making videos about my perfumes, and wow, every time I'm like, you liked it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they're great.
They really are. Every one of them is wearable. I mean, we get sample sets in from very successful houses, and you might get 10 perfumes, and half of them just aren't even wearable.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to Scent Explore, and all of these new niche houses coming out, some of which are even smaller, kind of independent houses. And it's like, maybe you find one or two fragrances in the entire lineup that are even interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You've got an entire house here of stuff that is unique and interesting and fun and wearable.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would say that, sometimes when I'm looking through indie perfumeries, it's like I might as well be buying from, like the mainstream brands, because everybody's trying to copy
totally
what Givaudan is doing.
right.
And it's like, you gotta, if you want to be a niche perfumer, you gotta have some sort of, niche.
Right.
And then, everybody wants to be like French and fancy and like,
right.
all that type of thing. I like a house with a little bit of, quirkiness to it.
Yeah. And like yours, there a lot of the houses I like one of my favorites, Clandestine Laboratories, again, the purists, a lot of people criticize, well, they're really synthetic, and I only like naturals and all of that. And don't get me wrong, I like those styles as well, but you can't do what you do with that, because that you're using a palette of molecules that doesn't really exist in the kind of 8 basic colors of the natural world.
It reminds me of that meme where it's like somebody is like, can I have a bologna sandwich, but is it natural though? And it's like, this is a 10-pound slab.
Yeah. Right.
God had no hand in the creation.
Yeah, that's right. But when you want bologna, or you want a hot dog, or a Dorito, like, I don't want to live in a world without Doritos or Oreos, right? Like, that stuff's got its place. Not that that's a direct comparison to your work, but
I have Doritos on my pride flag, so it's all right.
Yeah. Awesome.
For when I made it, my favorite flavor of Doritos had been long discontinued, but now it's all back. So
which one was that?
Now it just looks weird. Nobody knows why I have it there. And I'm like, you know what? I spent 10 years trying to get that back on the shelves, and now they have it. So
what flavor is it?
Blazing Buffalo Ranch.
Oh, nice. Nice. Cool.
Have you ever tried that one?
I don't think I have.
Oh.
No.
The spicier version that they have out now, like the really spicy one, is better than the. But, they didn't have that when I was a kid, so.
Right.
Well, I don't know when your summer set's coming out. How many years are going to be in the summer set?
Well, I'm working on 2 right now. I wanted to make like maybe a lemon fragrance, but I might just work on. Actually, I had a perfume that I almost launched in the beginning called Juicy, and it was a orange cream soda, but it had tropical fruit in it.
Ooh, nice.
So it was like kind of a tropical orange cream soda that I might work on a little bit. The regulations around some of the materials have changed, so I have to, reformulate it a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I think fructone got added to the IFRA.
Did it really?
In the 25 version, I think.
Damn.
Fructone or something like that.
Well, when you do release the summer set, maybe we could do another live and talk about the new ones. If you're up for it.
I've gotten a lot of sales since we've started, or at least a lot more than I'm used to getting.
Yay.
Nice.
That's great.
Good work. Good work, people.
Yes. Good job, guys. I mean, I think your sample sets are a no-brainer. They're really reasonably priced, and every fragrance is really cool.
Yeah.
So you're not getting any bad ones.
My philosophy on that is, I want everybody to be able to try it at least. I don't want to be like hotty toddy, charge $100 for a sample person.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you just so that again we know for future references, people listening? These are 30 mLs. What do your 30 mLs go for?
They're 55.
The 30 milliliters are 50, and the sample sets are 6 perfumes for 25.
Yeah,
I mean,
isn't that awesome?
That's a steal. I mean, come on. Yeah. Thank you. I just feel compelled for all of Fragcom to say thank you, because it's going to be good perfumers doing fun, cool stuff and not charging $5 a milliliter, because like you said, that's what people do. And, similar, to others, we've received stuff, and I smelled some stuff and went, it's okay. I guess I could talk about it. But then I saw, they were charging, $90 for 30 mLs. And I went, no, I can't recommend it to people at that price.
I do pretty, we're kind of middle class, but I still probably afford that. Like I would never spend a whole bunch of money on a perfume like that, I think, especially not a blind buy. So I just I think there are some people out there that are definitely worth it. Although I'm not the type of person who cares enough to have like a super, high class, expensive fragrance. Right. So it wouldn't be worth it to me, but worth it to people who do want that stuff.
Sure. Collectors and stuff.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Ember.
So much
Appreciate
for your time.
Yeah.
This was a blast.
Yeah, thank you guys for the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be in touch soon.
See ya.
The next set.
All right.